entire world. Okay, hello. We're started. I'm Aaron. I'm on the Azure CLI team. I've got the rest of the team. Well, some of the rest of the team with me. There's a few people who are on vacation and shizzles. Whew, guys, I almost cussed. That was close. Okay. So we've got Willie here. Willie, who's Willie?
Hi guys. Right
okay,
here.
There's Willie. We got Travis.
It's me.
Travis, do you want to point it at Yugong and
I'm gonna point it at Yugong, but you're not gonna see him because of the window.
Oh, he's just gonna be like, yeah.
Like a big villain in those movies. Like,
yeah,
I like the background.
And then Troy.
He's just a silhouette. We got Troy. Cool. And Matt just joined. Hey Matt, how's it going? I think he might be muted or something. Or he can hear us. He's got a finger up. It's cool.
Yeah, can you guys hear me? No?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yep.
Matt, thanks for joining. I don't think I've been on a video call with you yet, so that's awesome. Much appreciated. So Matt, typically what we do for these are live, but we also record them and put them on YouTube. But typically for people who are awesome like you and join from service teams, we let you go first so that you can peace out if you want afterwards. So we were just going to have you on to talk about your AKS GA, and feel free to talk about any, exciting stuff that goes along with that, kind of maybe what your timeline was, and feel free to talk about any future stuff that you guys have coming up. So Matt, take it away.
Sure. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah?
Yep, we can hear you.
I had to just go sign up for a Google account. I don't actually have an active one, I found out, so that was cool. Anyway, I'm here now.
Nice.
Yeah, this is cool. I didn't realize we were doing this, but this is great. Thanks for looping me in.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so AKS, we finally went GA, although we've been, for better or worse, we've been kind of in quasi-GA mode because everybody wanted it to be a stable, or it really was, but now it's officially GA as of 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So my bad. I might interrupt you real quick. Can you explain what AKS is?
Of course. AKS is Azure Kubernetes service. We kind of tried to rebrand ACS, which was the container service, because now, the market has shown us essentially that people aren't as interested in DCOS and orchestrator solutions, and we're all in on Kubernetes. Yeah. And we hired my skip manager, Brennan Burns, and a bunch of people in my group and all that. So it's all about Kubernetes, and this is the managed Kubernetes service, meaning you shouldn't have to know as much about how to run Kubernetes. We sort of hide the master nodes from you, the ones that really do all the scheduling and all the hard work, and so all you need to know about and all you actually pay for are your or worker nodes. Yeah, and basically that's it. And it's something we want to do for a long time. Obviously, Google had GKE for quite a while. We got to market. Oh, here's my kitty. We got to market before before Amazon. And technically, I think with the GA, and we're pretty happy where we're at, and I think overall we're trying to catch up with Google's features and leverage what Microsoft does really well, which is essentially better enterprise support for stuff like this.
Awesome.
Any specific questions? Otherwise, I could just keep blabbing about stuff.
No, yeah. So what I figured is I might as well go ahead and ask. I'm a good prompter. I'll ask a few questions and then we'll move on. But I think especially like you're like we've talked in the past, Kubernetes is kind of the winner here. And so Microsoft made a little bit of a bet, but kind of that's the way the market was going. I know, at least for me, the day one of the preview of AKS, I provisioned an instance. I put something up there, been playing around with it, love it. My biggest complaint was regions at the time. So how many regions is AKS in now?
I think we're in Well, not literally every region, but
Almost.
because obviously there's a couple. We're not in China and Fairfax, but we're trying.
Yeah.
But I think I think it's true as of yesterday or today, we're in Japanese. We're everywhere finally. So
cool. Yeah.
The normal Azure region should have AKS.
That's awesome. And once I provision an AKS instance, do I use the CLI to interact with the AKS, or what am I going to be doing to actually use my Kubernetes instance?
The CLI or the portal have roughly equivalent functionality now. And that's what you use to manage, the cluster itself, scale up nodes, turn on or off add-ons, stuff like that. But for most of the work you'll be doing, you'll be talking the cluster through the normal Kubernetes tools like kubectl, the command line tool, and scheduling your jobs that way, and kind of hopefully forgetting the Kubernetes cluster itself. That that's supposed to fade in the background, and then you just worry about how to schedule your jobs and things like that.
Yeah, cool. All right. So Matt, if you have anything else that you want to add, no one's asking any questions, but someone did quote me, which I hope I don't get in trouble for. Kubernetes has won. Yeah. So anything else that you want to add before we move on?
No, just I don't know how many other people are in this position, but I've ended up doing about half of the work I do on the CLI, and it's been a real treat, honestly, to work into. I haven't really even met any of you guys, but it's been fun to work with you on GitHub and all that. I like the way the project is going.
Good. So that's actually a good point that Matt brings up. These community stand-ups are supposed to be not just for end users that consume CLI, but also people who want to contribute to the repo. And so you'll actually, if you want to either file issues against the AKS commands, or suggest improvements to the AKS commands, or even submit PRs, Matt is who you would interact with on AKS. So it is a public repo. We do want community interaction. So feel free to come join us on GitHub and interact with us and kind of develop the product in concert with us. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Matt. So we'll probably have Matt on in the future as well, as AKS adds new improvements to the CLI. We love to have people come on and talk about those new improvements. So thanks a lot for joining us, Matt. And if you want to stick around, that's fine. If you want to jet, that's fine as well. Cool. Okay, so I am going to move on to Willie. It doesn't look like Surgeon was able to make it. Willie, do not feel obligated to do a demo, but can you please tell me what OAuth we're not going to have a demo for, but can you tell me what static websites is? So tell me what's going on with storage.
Sure. So, I actually do have a demo planned. So
cool.
Might be easier with a demo, but essentially we currently have an extension for storage. So all sort of preview features that we have, we are shipping that through the extension, and we make it pretty easy for customers to add the extension to the CLI. I'm gonna share my screen, and I can't tell if I'm sharing.
You are.
Okay.
I'll lock it to you.
Okay, great. So here's our extension repo. And currently we have a extension called storage preview. And on that, we have a bunch of features. So here you can see hierarchical namespace, static website, which is what Aaron mentioned. We also have OAuth, which was also mentioned. And I'll go straight to the demo, and I'll showcase some of these. So in our last stand-up, I believe we introduced extensions. So let me see if I have extension installed. I do, but if someone didn't want the extension anymore, they could easily remove it. So they type is extension remove -n storage preview. Done. Adding it is just as easy.
Just because we might as well flog the horse. How do I see extensions that are available?
Yeah, so there's a command. So if someone does AZ extension -H, they'll see all the extension commands we have. List available is one of these. So if they did AZ extension list available, that would show all the current extensions we have. So this is kind of long. I will query this.
Nice.
So yeah, currently we have all these extension. AIM, alias, batch CLI extensions, and storage preview is one of them. So I'll go straight in, and I guess I can start by demoing OAuth. So currently, for most of our storage commands, we don't require the parameter resource group, which the service wants for some strange reason. And so if someone sort of wanted to list the containers in a storage account, right? They would need both the storage account name and the storage account key. So they could either one actively query for that key, or if they didn't specify the account key, we would query it for them. So we would list all the storage accounts in their subscription, get the one that they indicated, then query for the account keys to that, and then finally make the call that they wanted. So that's like 3 separate REST calls for one command that they wanted. And to show that, I'll do a AZ storage container list. And this might be easier if I do this in debug mode. So yeah, what we do sort of under the hood is we query for all the storage accounts. This is this huge block of text that you see. Then we query for the keys to that account. And then finally, we we call the actual command that they want. If they want to use OAuth, which is one of our preview features, they can specify --off.
Hey, Willie.
Yep.
I assume you're going to delete that storage account, right?
Yeah. I'll do that.
I was thinking the same thing.
What did you say, Travis?
So I was thinking the same thing. I was like, please delete that storage account when you're done.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. But yeah, so we do have a new OAuth feature. They can specify by indicating the off mode. And so that makes just one call. Don't know why it's taking a little longer than usual, but yeah, it's a lot shorter. There's one REST call made, and then you query your list of containers. So yeah, that's OAuth mode. OAuth also allows you to more fine-tune the permissions that you give users. So it really uses your login credentials, right? So if you indicate that someone's only allowed to read blobs, then they can't really make any changes to your containers. And so it gives the owner more power, I guess, and more fine tuning, which may help in a bunch of cases. Yeah, so that's our OAuth feature. It shipped with our storage preview extension. I can also demo the static website feature that we have. So as you guys might have seen, I currently have this storage account. It's called Willex Storage 0, and I have these containers in it. So the static website feature allows you to, or creates a container for you that's called $web. And through it, you can sort of specify a file that you would show if someone went to that blob's URL. So currently, I have static website disabled. So let's do show on the properties. So yeah, static website is one of the blob service properties we have. It's currently disabled. I will enable it. let's see. And so right now I'm indicating to my storage account that I want this index.html file to be the one that's pointed to for that feature. I've enabled the static website feature. And so currently you can see that it's enabled. You can also specify a document if you get a 404. So that's this option right here. But yeah, let's go to this file. Oh yeah, so if you can see this,
yeah,
it's just a simple hello world application. I have an image on it, and let's see if I can get the URL. Ooh. And so it looks like that.
Nice.
But yeah, this gives people a really easy and cheap way to host a static website using a storage account.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. I was thinking you probably don't have to delete it. You can just recycle the keys.
Yeah, I can do that too.
There you go. Although it already has 80 gigabytes of extra data in it. Cool. Thanks a lot, Willie. Yeah. So, let me undo the. There we go. Yeah. So, like I said, sometimes cool. Like Matt will come and hang out with us. Sometimes I have to force Willie to do the demos. So we have some more like not as service teamy features, but some product features that we wanted to talk about as well. And next up is Travis with a deprecation demo. Travis, are you ready? How do you feel?
Oh, I feel great.
Great.
Yeah, so the deprecation feature is something I've been working on for longer than I would like to recall. But essentially, it originated from the fact, if all of our service teams produce perfect services every time and those translated into perfect commands every time, we wouldn't need any deprecation feature. But reality being what it is, sometimes we have commands that we would like to replace. And previously, we did not have a nice unified mechanism to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and just kind of show off some basically demoware of what this looks like in action. And this will be in the next release of the CLI.
Is that this following Tuesday?
No, I think it's 2 weeks from
the 17th, I think.
Yeah, 17th, I believe.
Cool.
So, all right. So can you see my terminal window? Sweet. So I'm going to pick on monitor. I could pick on Redis, but I'm going to pick on monitor because why not? So if I were to look in the monitor command group right now, you'll see that the monitor alert command group has been marked as deprecated. And so if I were to say, okay, well, what's up with that? I can request help for that command group, and it will give me the message that this has been deprecated, and it even tells me what version of the CLI it's going to be removed in, and it tells me what to use instead. So one of the commands we're working on now is monitor has a new metric alerts service that is essentially replacing this old legacy service. So this is the demoware part because that's still in progress. So we're obviously not going to deprecate something before the replacement is ready.
Yeah.
But to give you an example of what the message looks like. Now, even if I weren't using this through, using -H to actually look at the help, if I were to just use these commands without any idea, it will still tell me, it will still give me the warning that the thing I'm using is deprecated. So in that way, whether you're kind of navigating the CLI or whether you're running a script, you're going to see the deprecation warnings. And the reason we do that is so that you have time to update your scripts and switch over to the new stuff so that when that thing goes away, well, we can at least say you were warned. You might still be mad at us, but you can at least say you were warned. So what you might be wondering is, well, if this is something that's being replaced, why in the world would you even want to show it? Like, why would I even want to see alert with the deprecated? And the answer is, and a lot of times you probably don't. So there is something that is deprecated that you don't see here. So we've got these nice autoscale commands, right, that we introduced fairly recently, but we still have the old and busted autoscale settings commands, which you note do not appear. But if you have a script that relies on them, you can still use those commands and you will still get the warnings in your script. So we have the ability, it's sort of a sliding scale. There's kind of 3 levels. You know, at the first level, we simply mark it as deprecated. When you see it in help, you will see that it's deprecated and you'll get all your warnings. We also have the ability to hide the command or command group, which is what we're doing in the case of autoscale settings, in which case you're not going to see it if you request help. So it makes it less discoverable, because we don't want new people coming in and finding the old command that we're getting rid of. But if you have a script that relies on it, that will continue to work. And then the final level is where it actually expires, and at which point it will not work. And actually we'll remove it from the CLI before the release. So right now we can deprecate command groups, we can deprecate individual commands, we can deprecate parameters, and we can deprecate options for specific arguments. So if we have 2 different ways of referring to the same thing, we could deprecate one of those. And that's usually the case where something was generic and had a generic name, and then the service introduced a new feature that makes that need to have a more specific name, in which case we want to eventually get rid of the generic name because it's confusing.
Yeah. So Travis, if I'm a CLI developer, how much work is it for me to get all of these warning? Like, there's a lot of stuff here. I got that deprecated message next to alert. I see those warnings. Like, is this going to take me like a day to get all of my deprecation in?
No. Let me pull it up. I can show you what it kind of looks like in the code, but essentially it's a simple annotation, and it depends what you're deprecating, but basically the mechanism to do it is all the same, and the syntax is all the same. It's just a matter of where it is in your code. Yeah. But I'll go ahead and share my VS Code, or attempt to.
I'm really good at leading questions. So while you're picking that up, how about extensions? What if I'm an extension author, and my extension's been out for a year and I need to start deprecating things? Would this work there?
Yes, because this is all part of the CLI core. So all the extensions would have access to all of this stuff.
Cool.
Right here is where I did this for this demo. And all I did is when I was registering the monitor alert command group, I just have a keyword argument called deprecate info, and I call this little helper method called deprecate. And this is where I specify that the redirect is to the monitor metrics alert. And this is where I gave the expiration version of the CLI as 2.0.43, which means that once the CLI rolled to that version, which would be about in a month and a half, at that point, those commands would basically, for all intents and purposes, be
defunct.
Gone.
Yeah.
In fact, we would have, because of our linter, we would actually have to remove them, or change the expiration. But
nice.
Yeah, so it's a simple matter of a few keyword arguments, and it works the same whether this is for a command group. If I put it on this line, it would be for a command. If I were in the params file and I put it in a parameter definition for that param. So it's all the same syntax, whatever you're trying to deprecate.
Cool.
And this lets the experience be consistent.
Yeah. One thing I try to bring up here in the community stand-ups is, like kind of Matt also mentioned it is open source, and we do accept PRs and issues and things like that. So I kind of want the community stand-ups to be, look, here's some of the new things that we are doing for end users, but there's also a pretty good case to be made for the fact that the code base is easier to work in, which is twofold. It's better for our service teams who work on the product. It's better for third-party developers who work on the product. And then it's, at the end of the day, it's better for end users, because if it's easier for us to make these deprecations, there's not as much of a barrier to entry, then people are going to do it, right? Literally, you copy and paste that one thing and you get a deprecation, like all of that for free. So it makes it easier for us to provide that to end users.
Yep, and we've definitely put a lot of time into trying to make it easy to do these things in the CLI, and just focused effort on trying to make it as easy as possible to do the most common things that you'd want to do.
Yeah.
And since we're putting names to faces, if there's anything in the CLI that pertains to network or monitor, and I think that's
you, buddy.
That's enough. Then you post issues on the repo or whatever, then you're pretty much going to be working with me. So
yeah.
I am the face of network and monitor.
We need to get a poster now. I'm just going to get a big picture of Travis, and it's going to say, I'm the face of network and monitor.
Right.
Okay, cool. I think next up we have Troy. Troy, whether you have a demo or not is cool either way.
What did you plan for me?
Someone volunteered you. Can you just talk about?
I didn't volunteer for the tribe.
You don't have to do a demo. But
who volunteered me?
I'm gonna blame Willie. I don't know.
So at this point of the demo, if you go up to talking about live tests,
cool.
There must be no topic to be talked about. So I'm Troy. I'm the janitor on the team. As you can see, so I think on my list, Aaron wanted me to talk about our live tests. So seriously, there's nothing really to be demoed about because it's automations, it's testing.
Yeah.
And no one want to see test log rolling on their screen. But so just to let you know, we currently have a large test coverage, majorly implemented based on the VCRPY, which essentially we're pretending all the HTTP traffic underneath it. We hijack it and put it in a recording, and we will run a test case against those recordings. That help us to save all this traffic back to the actual service. But however, in many situations, it doesn't capture a lot of the bugs and the issues. Sometimes with service progress, things may not match up. We want to catch up of those issues. So we currently have automation running nightly, which have more than 1,000 test cases running commands against the real service. They've been ran every night. We internally monitoring them. We are on the any failure at this point, if it stands out, we'll immediately contact the command owner. If it's us, we're fixing that. If it's our service team, we will ask the service team to fixing issues in a timely fashion. So that's very helpful. That's the same test bed again as the recorded test case. So we basically run the same test group. When the recorded test case for all the pull requests, whoever opened a pull request will run all the more than 1,000 test cases. Whenever pull requests being merged, the latest deb branch will be run nightly against the library environment. So that's what we have today. So since this is broadcast to the community, I want to say not just product. If you want to contribute to our test bed, if we have an idea on any test coverage you want to improve, any scenario you think is critical to maybe your situation, or maybe you're thinking to benefit the broader consumer of the product, feel free to open a pull request, just add a test case or this kind of thing. That's all very beneficial to us.
Cool.
That's it.
Thanks, Troy. Yeah, so that's the only reason I wanted to bring that up. Same kind of deal, just talk about some of the cool engineering things that we're doing internally as well that in a roundabout way make the end user experience better. So Okay, I think we have just a few more items. One thing I wanted to say at this point, since we have just a few more items, is if you're watching live and you have any questions for us, feel free to type them in the chat and I'll read them and we'll talk about them at the end. Next up, I don't think Jared was able to make it, but we just wanted to talk really quickly about the fact that some SQL managed instance features went in. And then there was also a breaking change to some of the SQL commands. I don't have the specifics on me right now, but if you do use the SQL commands and you want to check that out, if you go on to our docs, just look up Azure CLI docs. We maintain release notes, and those breaking changes will be in the release notes. So last up, two things. Yugong, you don't have to do a demo, but do you want to slide over to Travis and talk about the new login experience that's coming up?
He would love to, but
he left.
He is not in the room at the moment, so I can demo it.
See him, you find him, and you tell him I am disappointed.
Yeah, Aaron's looking for him.
I'm looking for it. Okay,
but so I can demo it for you.
Okay, cool. That's fine. As I was going to do the same thing, but you can. That's totally fine.
So let me log out, I guess.
Do you have his code on your box, or are you just going to demo what you will no longer have to do?
I'm going to demo. No, I'm going to demo. It's merged, so I'm going to actually demo what you do now.
Oh, like the nightly. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let me just get it. There we go. A little unprepared for this demo. I didn't know we'd be doing it, but okay. Fortunately, it's pretty easy. So,
yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's a CLI, so you just type some words and stuff happens.
But
in this case, it's slightly more exciting because now I'm going to type some words and other things are going to happen. But we'll see what that is. So now I'm just going to do. So prior, what would happen is I would do AZ login, and it would give me this warning, and I'd have to copy this link and go into a browser and paste it, and then go back to this link and copy this code, and it worked, but it was very cumbersome. So the stuff he's been working on, now I can just say AZ login, and really?
Uh-oh. So wait, we're showing off the.
And this is what I was talking about.
We're showing off the current mechanism. This is what you normally have to do. You go to that link and you copy that code and you paste it into the browser.
Yeah.
So even if we can't get the demo to work,
so I can demo this if you guys want. I have the code on my box.
Cool. Either way, whatever.
It's worked for me this week.
I'm just curious why it.
Matt, you got it to work as well?
Yeah, it was a nice surprise earlier this week.
Nice.
All right. AZ login. Go.
I think
okay. That's curious.
All right, Willie's up.
Yeah,
Willie's up.
Really do it.
Okay.
Willie's up.
Cool.
Can you clear?
Yeah. So if I type AZ login, I get transferred to this.
Yeah. Okay. So that was kind of quick.
Yes.
But yeah, so there's a little bit of a warning there, right? And all you did was type AZ login. So that whole code and shit. Oh,
yeah, it automatically transfers me to the browser, and
I did it, guys.
Log into whatever subscription I want.
Exactly. So now you got that landing page, and then it redirects you to the docs. So there's some pretty good. Oh, I've always wanted to have one of those BBC moments where the kid comes in the room, and so every time my wife gets home, I'm like, maybe she'll come in here and it will be one of those moments. I feel like at the end of the day, everyone's like, that's how life is. We all have people in our lives that come into the room. It's fine. Yeah. So one of the things that we did here is it's a little bit, there's a slight breaking change here, and that AZ login doesn't work the same way anymore. It's easier. But our hypothesis here is just that nobody ever in the entire world used AZ login with that device code in a script. There's no automation anywhere that uses that mechanism in a script. So what we basically said is the scenario for just typing AZ login and not using MSI or not using a service principal or not using something that's meant for an automated scenario is going to be interactive. And that's copy paste the device code, or you just want to get that browser to pop for you and be ready. So we've went ahead and changed the default behavior to pop the browser for you. The device code's already done. It does that in the back end. And then you just click what account you want, if there's an account you need to select. And then you're automatically logged in. Then it redirects over to that landing page, and then you get kicked over to the docs. So it's just meant to make life easier. If you are in a scenario, two cool things actually that Yugong showed me yesterday, I believe. If you're in a scenario where we believe we cannot pop the browser for you, we'll fall back to the access code thing. So he was explaining to me that if you're sitting in a Docker image, the Docker image, we know that we can't pop a browser for you. We're not allowed to marshal a browser popping back up to the host machine, and there's no browser in the Docker image, so it'll fall back to the access code behavior. Also, if you want to force that behavior, -- access code. So I'm pretty excited about that behavior. We've been wanting this for a while. We had some dependencies that needed to come in, but now it's a AZ login, enter, and you don't really have to do any of that extra work. So we're pretty excited about that.
Just a quick thing. It's -- use device code.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, there is a fallback option as well.
Did you type -- access code or something in there?
No, I did not.
Dang it. I don't know where I pulled that from. So yeah, look at the docs. Aaron doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay, so I think the last thing we had on the list, I don't see any questions yet, so we might not have any questions. But Travis, did you want to talk about metric alerts at all? I'm totally cool skipping it. It's kind of like pretty early. I don't think it's going in next release or the next release. So
what? Why are you so skeptical? Not
okay.
next release, but maybe the next of the next.
Okay.
Really, it's just it will be similar to the existing metric alerts, which is the only alerts we have in the CLI at this time anyways. The difference will be that you'll be able to specify dimensions on the different conditions, which is something that the old metric alerts did not support. So
yeah. So that's another thing that I was going to bring up. I'm glad that you helped me remember this because I talked about it in the PowerShell one earlier this morning. I am doing customer interviews the next 3 weeks. So hit me up. I'll put my Twitter handle and the link to that invite in the chat. But I sent out links on Yammer if you're coming from Yammer. I sent out links on Twitter if you're coming from Twitter. I really want to meet with you. It's like an hour-long interview. You don't have to prepare. Just show up. I'll ask you questions. I don't have any cookies to give you because it's going to be online, so you don't get any free cookies. But you get free love from me. That's one of the topics that we'll probably be talking about is some of the ideas we have around making metric alerts better. Travis already has some good ideas, but I want to get a little bit of customer feedback on that. We're doing customer feedback on the documentation, on how to find commands easier, lots of cool stuff like that. So I will put that link in the chat, but feel free to sign up for an interview slot. And I'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, hit us up on GitHub, file issues on GitHub. You can also file issues through the docs if you see problems in the docs. And last and not least, feel free to write extensions and let us know about them. We've had a few third-party developers say, hey, check out this cool extension I made. So we're even considering some ways to promote some of those things. We've got a lot of cool stuff. And we just want more information, more interaction from all of you so that we know what to do next, what you care about. I don't see any questions in the chat, so I think we'll close it up. Do you guys have any other comments before we close out? Hearing none. What is that? Robert's rules? Hearing none, we will adjourn or whatever. Cool. Thank you everyone for joining us live. We really appreciate it. and always feel free to reach out to us. Thanks a lot.
Have a good one.
All right.